The only way is the right way, I might say. Nobody doing it better, y'all some lightweights. Malik Wright, up all day and all night, pushing all the buttons up to something till it's alright. He looking at it from all sides and angles, got a stripes on his body like he played for the Bengals. Oh man, there's no one discussing it. They came, they stayed, they either did it or done it. Man, I love it, cause all they ever do is win. So kick back, relax, the TWSN.
Thank you guys for joining me to another episode of the Sit Down with Malik Wright morning show presented by the Right Way Sports Network. I'm your host, Malik Wright. Listen, we got a jam-packed show, a lot of stuff to get into. But before we do, make sure you guys give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss when we go live or when we upload content from the TWSN studios. Listen, Jimmy, our YouTube manager and also producer now, is on the ones and twos, and Daniel's back joining me on the show, and I'm pretty pumped up for today's show. Sorry for the late start. Wanted to just make sure everything was pristine and just perfect for all of y'all, and want to make sure that we're just giving you guys the best content as possible. Again, doesn't matter what time we go on, right? The show must go on, and that's what we'll definitely try to do. I'll be joined today by Parker Blake, as well as TWSN fantasy football analyst Michael O'Hara, as we discuss all things fantasy football for Thursday Night Football, getting you guys all squared away to help you win your fantasy football leagues. But we got a jam-packed show, a lot of stuff to get into. Let's talk about this conversation. I guess the first thing I want to talk about is LeBron James. LeBron James and his son, Bronny James, are playing together this season in LA. It's the first time we've seen a father-son duo play together in the NBA. Jimmy, roll the clip.
What you thought about that?
All right. In all seriousness,
Please.
I looked at the film and he did step out of bounds, but I'm not going to go there.
No, you can go there.
I'm not going to go there right now.
That's a big part of it.
But
What do you mean you're not going to go there right now? You just went there.
I definitely did. But
I stepped out of bounds?
He stepped out of bounds.
They don't even have that camera angle of the baseline like that.
All I know is I got to stop.
Tell them about the stop I got on you when you dribbled out of bounds, though.
Now, that was a foul, too. He slapped my whole arm. And we... See,
did they call it?
No.
Did the ref call it?
I mean, I'm not going to get that call right now. I'm not going to get that call right now. I'm playing against
you were a rookie
guy
anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, like, it brings up a question to me. And that question is LeBron interested in winning championships? This seems like a father, a proud dad. No, I'm being honest. Right. He seems like a proud dad that's interested in, playing along with his son. Yeah. He seems happy to be playing along with his son. I don't know if I still see that fire in LeBron's eyes that I once saw. I don't know if championships are at the center of his attention, if you will. Now, if the two coincide with one another, badass, cool. But I really don't think I think LeBron in his mind, he might feel like his legacy is set a little bit. I think LeBron in his mind might feel as if he has nothing else to prove. I think LeBron might feel like he is already the GOAT. Mm-hmm. Maybe we in the media make too much about, is LeBron James the GOAT, more so than LeBron James having those questions about himself. I have no idea. Is LeBron James the GOAT? I don't know. That's a conversation that could happen. I feel like that's a conversation that could happen.
Yeah.
Quite frequent, honestly.
Yeah.
But I see a guy that is at peace. I feel like that's a guy, that is he's very satisfied with his playing career. And at this point, he just wants to play alongside Bronny James. What are your thoughts, Daniel?
Well, first off, I mean, I'm a little excited to hear you speak this way about LeBron, because always, the opposite, I'm messing with you. I think you're right. And this goes respectfully. This goes on the Buss family. This goes on the Laker organization. And I've had, this conversation with some of my friends and some other people, and just discussing this organization might have effed up big time. And when we actually go deep into it, is what are they setting themselves up for in the future, right? I mean, first up, you go hire a guy in JJ Redick, who is good friends with LeBron James. And the only way the JJ Redick hire really goes well, quite possibly, is if LeBron James and his relationship works well. But what happens if LeBron retires? What happens if it doesn't work? What happens if you're not winning? Where does that friendship lie? How does that affect your entire team chemistry? And that's where my concern is, right? I think the JJ Redick hire was innovative. I think it was next level, but is it going to work? And I'm with you. The simple psychology of a human, and I hate to go this deep into it, but look at LeBron. It don't seem like he give a shit about winning a championship this year. And that's just from what I've seen. And put yourself in LeBron James' shoes. I mean, the dude has the quote unquote GOAT title. The dude just won an Olympic gold medal. He had, something that he can ride high on, for the rest of his life, winning gold, going to Paris, with Steph Curry, with everybody. And now he plays with his freaking son in the NBA. That is one of the greatest things, quite possibly, we've ever seen, regardless of what team you support. That's crazy. And that is history. So, I'm with you. I do think that there is concern for this Lakers team, and quite possibly I'm not even considering them in the top 3 for the West. I'm not even considering them in the championships talk yet. They've obviously got LeBron, they've got AD, but they need to show me a lot more. So from a pure basketball perspective, they're not on the same level of a Timberwolves. They're not on the same level of a Nuggets, and that's what's consistently been shown, right? You go look at what happened in this past year's playoffs. They got dog walked. You go look at what happened 2 years ago's playoff. They got dog walked. I'm concerned for this team. And right now, there's going to be serious conversation, at least in my eyes. What does life post LeBron look like? Are we keeping AD to be our superstar and pairing him with a guy, trading for a point guard to kind of give that 1-2 punch? Are we trading away Anthony Davis to get us a big haul? Let's say you trade him away to the Houston Rockets. You get Jalen Green. You get a couple of these other guys. Malik, I'm concerned. I am. And I think that it's a long season. And I'm going to be honest with you. I have no faith right now in this Lakers team to do anything special in the playoffs. I did before. When you look at last year, I was a fan of the Lakers. I thought that, hey, they were the one team I truly thought could push the Nuggets to the NBA Finals. And you look at their team, they had the team. They had a decent, LeBron, AD. They were showing out in the playoffs. It was just all about health with them. So it does concern me, man. I think a lot of the outside noise, especially when you go to LA, LA's not like any other place. It is very similar to a Dallas in the NFL, to where you are the superstars, you are the headlines. There's so much going on around the game of basketball. You're not in Denver. You're not in Minnesota. This is LA. This is all the stars, all the lights, and this is an organization that they do things differently, Malik. And that's my simple point is, man, I'm concerned. I think that this Lakers team will be fine. I think they're going to be fun to watch. And first off, respect to LeBron. I think it's sick, personally. I think it's sick playing with this kid. That's one of the greatest moments, and nobody will ever be able to take that away from LeBron and Bronny. And that's something that will go in history. And Malik, they ain't winning no championship. It's over for Bron. I'll be honest with
you. Listen. I don't give a damn about the Lakers. Okay. I don't care about, I'll be honest. I don't care about, I'm concerned. And I'm not concerned for this team. They made the bet they lied in. Listen, poor decisions over the years have cost them, real, I guess, building a true championship roster. The unwillingness to give up Austin Reeves at points cost you Buddy Hield and a Miles Turner, guys that could really be the center, a guy that could be the center and allow AD to play that, play the 4 position, if you will. Listen, I think that there's a lot of costly roster decisions, like paying D'Angelo Russell the contract he did. Now he just opted into that player option that he did. I think there are several decisions that they made that put them in the situation that they're in. I love some of the moves that they made in terms of Dalton Connect. I loved him. I think he's going to be a guy in the future that could be very good. I don't know if he'll be very good on the Lakers. I could see them packaging him in a trade piece, maybe, once they realize, oh snap, we really do want to win. We'll trade Austin Reeves. We'll trade you Rui Hachimura. We'll trade you this guy. We'll trade Jared Vanderbilt. And, we'll package that away for some disgruntled superstar and hopefully make a super team with the Lakers. But when I watch LeBron James, I don't see the same fire that I once saw. I don't see the same LeBron James that I saw when he first got to LA. I don't see a guy that truly has the most interest in necessarily winning championships. And I like the points you made when you talked about Jeannie Buss, Rob Pelinka. I think they've almost beat the competitive spirit out of LeBron to some degree. I think they did. But LeBron also holds a lot of the blame. Yes. You asked for a lot of these pieces. You begged for D'Angelo Russell. You begged for AD. You won a championship with AD, but you beg for a lot of these pieces. And if you look at it, I think the Lakers have a very good roster still. When I watch the Lakers remind me almost of the Raptors roster for the last couple of years. But when they had Kawhi Leonard over there, they have a lot of solid role players. It's just about making sure everybody knows their role.
Yep.
I think that's the biggest thing. Maybe they look different with Gabe Vincent back in the fold, a full healthy Gabe Vincent for the entire year. Maybe they look different with Jarrett Vanderbilt fully healthy. I loved the emergence of Jackson Hayes last year. I love that. Maybe those things actually come to fruition, but I don't know. For me, when I watch the Los Angeles Lakers now, I see a team that maybe is just content with what they have, and maybe you can still win with that. This is the first time we are seeing continuity with this Lakers roster. That is one thing I will give Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss credit for. Usually we're used to seeing so many different pieces in the fold, but this is the first time that we're seeing the same roster kind of carry over from the year prior. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe continuity is a good thing.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I think my final point I'm going to bring up on this, Malik, is I think that this is kind of their last chance with that. And you look at what my concern is with this team. It's very similar for our football fans who are watching. Go look at the Cleveland Browns. We had this discussion a couple days ago on the show. This needs to be studied, right? When you look at the Cleveland Browns failure of quarterback, management, whether it was Johnny Manziel, so many different quarterbacks come in. It seems like that's where quarterbacks go to die. It seems like draft picks go to fail with LA. And I think that's where my next stance with this Lakers team is, are they going to develop guys, right? You go look at Brandon Ingram, left LA, turned into a star. Julius Randle left LA, turned into a stud. D'Angelo Russell left LA, turned into a stud. Lonzo Ball left LA and had some very productive years. And there's just so many different guys that have had success outside of the Lakers. You go look at Ivica Zubac from the Clippers. He started with the Lakers. So many guys. Larry Nance started his career with the Lakers and is having a good career. There's not a single draft pick that the Lakers have had in the past, honestly, 10 years, Malik. I mean, you go look at Jaden McDaniels. Where is he now? He's with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Where did he start? With the Los Angeles Lakers. There's so many guys. Mo Wagner from the blanking on the team, Orlando Magic. It seems like this team has had a failure to draft and develop talent. And that's why I'm curious to leave guys like Max Christie, guys like Dalton Connect. What is going on? And I personally think this should be studied, Malik. I'm of the same instance. I'm looking at the Cleveland Browns. I'm looking at the same thing with the Lakers. How are you missing on all these guys / trading them all away for draft picks that aren't working out?
You know who was a huge miss from the Lakers?
Lemire.
My guy from the Rockets. What's his name? Cam Whitmore. Cam Whitmore. That was a huge miss. I think that guy's gonna be an absolute dog in this league. But you know what? I can't feel sorry for LeBron the way you feel sorry for LeBron. You wanna know why?
I don't feel sorry for him. But
well, you say you feel, but you say you're worried, you're concerned.
Oh,
about this team.
Yeah.
Right. So let me get there. Listen, I personally can't feel sorry or look at this team and say I'm concerned because LeBron James chose to sign back with this team. LeBron James didn't have to sign back with the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron had a player option. LeBron could have said, this isn't working out, let me go elsewhere. But I believe he signed a 2-year deal with them.
Yep.
He basically signified that, hey, I am happy with the roster. And is this a ploy to maybe say, hey, you know what? We got one of my sons. Let's get Bryce James now. Like, is that what it is? Because now he's expressed interest in playing with his other son.
That's crazy.
We'll see if that realistically happens. But when I look at it, I just can't feel too sorry for LeBron. That's just my thought process on that. Make sure you guys do us a favor. We appreciate y'all for making us a part of your daily morning routine. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss when we go live or when we discuss LeBron James from the TWSN studios. Want to keep the conversation rolling. Let's talk about the Miami Dolphins with Mike McDaniel. I think there is a fair question that should be coming up now, and that is, can the Dolphins win with Mike McDaniel? You know, this team looks completely different without Tua at the helm.
Yes.
You know, Mike McDaniel got the job in large part due to his play calling ability and his ability to get the most out of his players and his quarterback. And now, I don't know. I thought Mike McDaniel was one hell of a coach. I thought, not that necessarily he could turn water into wine, but I thought maybe he could at least put up 20 points still. This team looks bad. And with the constant years of failing in the playoffs or falling short, it's now bringing up the conversation, can the Dolphins win with Mike McDaniel? And to be honest with you, Daniel, you asked me that question a year ago, I'd probably say, yeah, they could win with Mike McDaniel. It's Mike McDaniel. He's a great play caller. We saw what he did with the San Francisco 49ers offense. We saw how he's reshaped the image of Tua Tagovailoa. Now you got to start asking yourself, with Tua out of the picture, Mike McDaniel firmly seated, as the man that's supposed to get this Dolphins season on track. I don't know if they can win with him. The weirdness, the awkwardness, the quirkiness of him, I'm not sure. What are your thoughts, Dan? What say you?
I think it is time to have very hard conversations. That's what even Mike McDaniel said, right? It is no team is able to run away from these hard conversations. I think the Dolphins have got to have them at some point, right? I think that they were a team where Tua is a lot of their system. And my concern with them is, hey, even though Tua is your system, and yes, I do give them a pass for not having Tua right now. I do. I think Skylar Thompson is not a very good, he's not an NFL starting caliber quarterback. Tyler Huntley barely had time to practice and put up an okay showing, in their Thursday night football game or Monday night football game. I think a lot of it does have to do with the quarterback and not having the consistency because it does matter, right? And I think a lot of that also falls back on the organization. How do you not have a backup quarterback, respectfully, that's better than Skylar Thompson? If I have a guy like Tua, how I personally would have built the roster, I would have went and signed or traded for Mac Jones before, right? Hey, put Mac Jones in that system. I think you could have success. But I do think that even you look at the game where Tua got hurt, they were getting mollywopped by the Buffalo Bills. It's not like this season was going great for them. They beat the Jacksonville Jaguars by 3 points in week 1. The Jacksonville Jaguars are now 0-4. So I'm very concerned. I do think that the Dolphins do have issues with Mike McDaniel. And you look at the playoff game, right? The freezing playoff game against the Kansas City Chiefs. We can't blame that all on Tua. I think Tua plays a big factor in that. I think Tua had an abysmal performance. But at some point, you got to look at the man at the helm. And that's just the way the NFL works. So I think this team is too damn talented. I think that they even allocate a decent amount of money to the offensive line, and their offense is too talented not to be putting up points. It's the same conversation we've had with, other teams when you got a weapon like Tyreek Hill, you got a weapon like Jalen Waddle. This is on Mike McDaniel right now, right? I do give him a pass for not having Tua, but there is no reason Tyreek should be having under 40 yards in the passing game. There's no reason. I'm sorry. And I liked what he was doing, right? He was trying to get Tyreek Hill in the rushing game. He's trying to get him the end rounds, put him in the backfield. But at some point, even without Tua, your team's got to put up a better showing than it has so far. So I think that they can make the playoffs with Mike McDaniel. But as this team is currently constructed, as their roster is, as the Tua and Mike McDaniel pairing, they're not going to win a Super Bowl. They're not going to make the AFC Championship. I've got a lot of concerns about this team. And sucks to say, but you put yourself in this position. And Malik, I'm going to be honest, though, while they may not be able to win with Mike McDaniel, I don't think you bring in another coach and they can win a Super Bowl with this roster right now. They can win a Super Bowl with this team. I just don't see it happening. I think it's very similar to, I know he came from that tree, but it's very similar to Shanahan and the 49ers. I think they got a great system, and right now their system ain't working out for them. So I think the Dolphins, you have to utilize their weapons, and they've got the weapons. They've got the quote-unquote system. You got the fast running backs. Why is it not panning out? And I think we'll find out shortly within the next couple of weeks. Hopefully they get Tua back by week 9, week 10, and we'll have more of a clear answer.
Yeah, I think that the Dolphins are in a very complex situation here shortly, where it's like, okay, I personally think that what you have in a coach in Mike McDaniels. And I believe personally that, they made a mistake a while back when they didn't really try hard for the services of Lamar Jackson. Because I keep thinking about what Lamar Jackson could have been in that system. And me and you had a lot of those conversations a lot, and yeah, it was a conversation where I just simply felt like maybe that was a guy that could uplift them. But I also feel like Lamar Jackson, for as much crap as we give him, right? I feel like there are certain quarterbacks that are just meant to be with certain play callers. And I feel like they probably work hand in hand and it fits like a glove. I personally just thought Lamar Jackson made a lot of sense there, but I understand why they stuck with the guy Tua. I don't know what Tua's long-term football future holds. But what I do know is that, you're hoping for the best for that guy. Want to keep the conversation roll. Let us know down in the comment section what you guys think. Do you think Mike McDaniel is the man to lead the Dolphins to the promised land? Do you think he is the right coach, the right man at the helm? Make sure you guys do us a favor, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss when we go live or when we upload content. Let's move the conversation on over to the NFL, but I can't do that without bringing in my good buddy from TWSM, Parker Blake. Parker Blake, appreciate you, my man.
Morning, fellas. How we doing?
Yeah, man. I'm doing good, brother. I'm doing good. I guess the conversation at hand today is, should we trust the Bengals, man? Do we believe in the Bengals? Do we think the Bengals can get this corrected? Should we trust the Bengals? Listen, Parker, there are reasons that I believe we should. There are reasons that make me hopeful. There are things that make me believe.
Why'd you say it like that?
It's true.
Yeah.
You gotta believe, Daniel. You gotta believe.
You gotta believe. You gotta believe. Listen, I've been listening to Journey Don't Stop Believing all morning. And listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, I think that the Bengals have the chance to turn something around. But I want to get your take on it, Parker. I want to get Daniel's take on it. I want to have you join in on the discussion.
For sure, man. That's like we've talked about, like everyone's been talking about, right? This offense looks legit. This offense looks like they have almost too many weapons on the field at sometimes where they have too many options. They don't even know where to get the ball to. But I think what it comes down to with this Bengals team is it's going to be what they can do with this defense, what this defense looks like down the stretch. I mean, I know they're getting some reinforcements. They're getting some guys back this week, and I'm excited to see who's able to participate. I know people have been talking about maybe the only defensive lineman of note that they're missing is Sheldon Rankins this week. That could be a fun look out there. And again, I like we've said for the last few weeks, I think what this team is really going to show us what we're going to deal with for the rest of the season this week against the Ravens. Because if you come out flat against the Ravens, you're not able to handle a divisional rival. You're not going to be. People are going to start getting the answer of how to beat the Bengals. The Patriots showed you how, and if the Ravens are able to come out this week and show you and play their game, and you're not able to really affect them, get them off track. They're gonna put the league on notice as far as, hey man, this Bengals offense is legit. And Joe Burrows came out and said that he feels like he has to play perfect, which is something you never want your franchise quarterback to say, but that's a different conversation. But I think if teams learn that all they have to do is get the Bengals to not score on a drive or two drives in an entire football game, it's gonna be a long season. It's gonna be a long season of tough losses too, because you're gonna get these 35-point games for the Bengals that they're not going to be able to close out because their defense can't keep them in it. However, I think if we come out this week and see this defense be, the playmaking defense that's able to get the ball, steal possessions, force 3-and-outs, force field goals. I mean, that's really what this defense, that's all they have to do. You just have to keep teams out of the end zone and try and steal a couple possessions throughout the game. That's all you have to do.
That's all you got to do, right? It sounds so simple, and I think that's a great point that you brought up. And I want to go back to real quick how big that this game is. What's the magnitude of this game? I'm with you. First off, I hate to say it, it's a win or lose, right? If you win, and this is where I can go and look at it, I don't really care how you win. I don't care how they look, right? Mm-hmm. If you lose this game, you lose your first divisional opponent. You lose your first 3 home games. You fall to 1-4. That's drastic. Versus if you win, I would trust the Bengals. At 2-3, your season is all ahead of you. And you just beat a divisional opponent, the team that's coming off, the big Sunday night football game that everybody saw in prime time. They went and they dominated the Buffalo Bills. This is the game. And I think for anybody who's betting, anybody who wants to get onto the Bengals train, I think this is the last chance to really do so, because this is the turning point in the season. This is the game where you put yourself in that contention for, we are the best team in the NFL. We are Super Bowl contenders. And I think that there's no better opportunity at home. So I'm going to go back to your point also. It really is up to the defense, because I'm not too concerned about this offense. Yes, we got to see them close in the red zone, but they've looked good and they've looked consistent. There's nothing that I can look at to the offense that would say, oh, that's an issue of concern. The only way that this offense falters, respectfully, is if Zach Taylor and the play calling isn't there. But I struggle to see how, with all these weapons, with how they've looked the past couple of weeks, how this team fails to put up 20-plus points, 24-plus points. And that's why it's going to come down to the defense. And it really is, man. Derrick Henry in this rushing game, we were discussing on State of the Jungle. That's what you got to do. You have to literally sell out to stop the run. And it's going to be a tough task. You look at Derrick Henry, the dude's rushed for 190, rushed for 130 the week before. They got Justice Hill. They've got the fullback Pat Ricard. It's going to be a long game for the Cincinnati Bengals, but if we're discussing should we trust the Bengals, I'm confident in saying that you should trust the Bengals. I'm confident in saying that this team with the franchise quarterback, with, like we discussed, a top 5 offensive line per all numbers right now so far through 4 weeks, they've got everything ahead of them, and they've got the makings. It's not like we're playing with house money right now. It's not like you're playing, with luck. You're playing with a team that is fully constructed right now outside of some parts of the defense. This team could be a Super Bowl winning team. There is no team in the AFC that is, holy shit, that is a surefire team. Every team has holes. The Ravens passing defense has serious holes. The Kansas City Chiefs weapons have serious holes. The Houston Texans haven't proved that they're elite yet. They have serious holes even looking at their offense. So should we trust the Bengals? This game's going to tell a lot, and I'm very confident to say, hey, it's going to be a close game, divisional game. The Bengals are underdogs, but I will say if the Bengals win this game, they're a Super Bowl threat. If they lose this game, it's gonna look tough.
Listen, Parker, people come on this show, right? And people, they show a lot of respect to the Ravens. They show a lot of respect to all these other teams. It's time we start showing respect to the Bengals to some degree. Listen, I'll tell you what I believe, Park. And you tell me if I'm wrong. I think with the reinforcements added on the defensive line back in the fold, I'm talking about guys like BJ Hill, Chris Jenkins, Miles Murphy potentially. I'll tell you right now, man, I believe in my heart that this Bengals football team, I think they're going to win.
Yeah.
I think they're going to win. That's what I believe wholeheartedly. I believe that in my heart. I can't call the Bengals Super Bowl roster and all that stuff just yet. What I'll say is they have the potential, right? Y'all know how I feel about that potential word. They have the potential to do that. They have the potential to probably, do something special. But first, if you got to cut your own grass. You got to cut your own grass. You got to take care of business. Parker, look, let me ask you a question. You live in Utah, brother, right?
Yes, sir.
Imagine you, right? Imagine you walk outside your place and your grass is high. But then you look outside your neighbors and you're like, my neighbor's grass is high. You say, you know what? Let me go over there and let me cut my neighbor's grass. What would your family think about you? Just out of curiosity.
Hey man, you always got to take care of your own before you take care of the others, right? You gotta set that standard, set the example,
So before we could talk about Super Bowls and playoff appearances and the New York Football Giants either, let's cut the grass at home first. Let's take care of business at Paycor Stadium. Let's take care of the Baltimore Ravens. Let's do that. Because I think if you do that, I personally think that at the end of the day, the Bengals have a shot to beat the Ravens. I don't see the Ravens as unbeatable. I don't see the Ravens as some juggernaut. I think they're a damn good football team, but AFC North football is AFC North football. You can run roughshod against other teams that are outside the division, but this is the first AFC North matchup. This is going to be 2 teams going at it, and make no mistake about it. I think the Bengals are going to come to play. I think the Ravens are going to come to play. Y'all made mention of Joe Burrow's comments about having to play perfect, right? And about his, I guess, the thought process. You never want to hear your quarterback say that. But should you ever even hear that from your quarterback too? Respectfully? Right? I know he's tinkering with leadership styles and all that stuff going forward. Maybe this isn't the right way to lead. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I don't know, but I know maybe pissing off my teammates or maybe even leaving anything to potentially be looked at in a different way maybe isn't the right way to go about situations. I don't know, just my thought process. Listen, I think Joe meant it. I think he meant it a little more innocently than what we probably are making it out to be, or what I'm making it out to be, I'll say. But I'll say this, man. I think that this Bengals team can beat the Ravens. I think that their run defense is going to show a better effort. I think with BJ Hill, Sheldon Rankins, and maybe McKinley Jackson in the fold, I think that this defensive line could look a lot better. For the life of me, I'm just going to ask for one thing, please. I don't need to see Zach Carter out there. I don't need to see that. I don't need to see that. I don't know if you, Parker, I know you're a trenches guy, but I don't need to see that. Listen, at the end of the day, I want to put the best guys out there that you got. Parker, what are some of your other keys to victory for this Bengals football team to beat this Ravens team this week?
Yeah, no, it's keeping an eye on Lamar, and that's the biggest thing that I feel like they've struggled with. I mean, I feel like there's even been matchups against the Ravens where they've been able to shut down the run game in past years. However, Lamar is always a guy that's able to, break free, get available, find space to work. And I feel like, looking back just on that Commanders game, I think coming out of that one, seeing the way Jaden Daniels was able to manipulate space. And I know we talked about it after that game and how, he didn't have the stat line for it. But when you're presenting enough of a threat where you now have to have defenders account for you in that space, opposed to just, having that spy, moving that spy around, mixing up those looks for Lamar. I think everyone can agree he's not one of the elite passers in the league. He's more of a dynamic quarterback, but he's not going to be this elite guy that's able to process well and really get through his progressions quickly. And I think if you're able to muddy that picture as well as just keep tabs on where he's at and keep him in the pocket. I know the Bengals always like playing contain, but I really think some interior stunts and muddying that picture up front while putting a spy behind it can again force that color to flash, force Lamar to speed up his process, make him feel condensed and claustrophobic in that pocket, force bad decisions. I've said, the last few matchups against the Ravens, the key to beating the Ravens is obviously stopping the run, which I don't think you do against this Ravens team. I think they're gonna get theirs.
Yeah. I
mean, they're averaging over like 220 a game right now. So I think you just have to accept that. You have to set that bar realistically. However, I've said before on this show, sometimes the best defense is a good offense. So if you can make sure you get your offense on the field, you control the clock, and like we've talked about in previous matchups, right? If you feel like you're outmatched, you feel like it's going to be a battle, man. You got to win time of possession, you got to win in the trenches, and you got to keep your guy on the field, right? You got to keep your team on the field, keep their guy off the field. And I know the Ravens are going to play clock management. This could really be a game that comes down to we're going to get one possession each a quarter. And who's gonna lose their one possession? Who's gonna have the turnover? Who's gonna cause the turnover? Who's gonna make all that happen? So I really think it just comes down to, again, I'm always gonna preach time of possession, especially when we're gonna be in a battle. You want to own that clock. You want to control the game. You want to keep tabs on Lamar. You don't want to let him get in space and start causing guys to come out of coverage. Try step up and stop that. Just keep tabs on him, and then again, you just got to be patient. Go get those turnovers, time of possession, and tabs on Lamar.
Yeah, I think, and this is just from what I'm looking at, I'm starting out the game, and first off, I'm not letting my team get punched in the mouth on defense. I'm starting out, give me 5 down defensive linemen. Go look at that Commanders game, right? And the game losing play, the pass to Terry McLaurin, I thought that was a great play call. And 9 times out of 10, respectfully, 8 times out of 10, the defense wins that. And it was an amazing play call, and it was one of the best plays of the season. That's what the Bengals have done to Lamar Jackson, though. Throw 8 guys at the line of scrimmage, muddy up the picture like you were talking about. Throw some stunts up in there. The first drive, I'm showing Lamar Jackson everything. I'm saying, hey, let me put 5
Show
down
him everything,
defense.
Daniel. Show him everything.
I'm gonna show him everything. That's what I would do. Listen, like I said, I went.
This is a children's show, okay? Relax,
whoa, no. I think
keep it easy over there, Danny. Come on now.
I'm gonna show him everything. Let's go.
Ain't no Diddy over here, man.
What'd you say?
Nothing.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Exactly. I lost my train of thought.
I'm
sorry. It's always fun. Listen, like I said, I would just go throw everything at Lamar. Like I said, I keep going back to that last play call against the Commanders. That's what I would do. Like I said, I'm throwing Mike Hilton off the edge. I'm throwing Keem Davis-Gaither up the middle. I'm muddying up the picture. Even at some points, it may sound crazy, but we have seen when they drop Hendrickson into pass coverage, do some weird stuff. You're going to have to. And like I said, I think the way you do and the way they beat Lamar in the past, they have made Lamar look like a pedestrian quarterback. You've got to heat him up. You have to. And I'm confident Lou is going to scheme up something. We saw him. He did put up together a great game plan against Patrick Mahomes. And I think that this is the second great quarterback you're playing so far this year. I'm confident Lou's going to scheme up something good. But like I said, I would strongly advise against playing base coverage, against just sitting back and only rushing 4. Strongly advise against that against Lamar. Because if he does that, if you do that, he's going to pick you apart, and they're going to run right down the middle. So
Yeah, Parker. It wouldn't be a show if I didn't get your opinion really quick before we let you out of here on the Thursday Night Football matchup. Where are you leaning at? How you feeling about it? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is a fun game for me. I'm a Bijan owner in most fantasy leagues. I have Bijan on my shadow team. Big fan of him. I like Drake London. I've always been a fan of Kirk O'Chains. And then on the other side of it, you got Baker Mayfield. There's going to be a lot of energy in this game, man. I'm excited about this game. I think Tampa Bay pulls it out. I'm going Tampa Bay.
My man. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Kirk O'Chains is still Andy Dalton deep down inside. He's still not a primetime player. A lot of people making a lot of hype off of this Falcons team. A lot of people out there saying this Falcons team is going to playoffs, doing this, doing that. Listen to me. I think that Baker Mayfield, I just think he's more up to the challenge of a primetime game than a guy like Kirk Cousins. Mm-hmm. And even though the Falcons are talented up and down the roster, and I do believe JB3, Jesse Bates III, might get a pick this game, I still believe at my core, this Buccaneers team might still be the team to beat in that conference. I mean, that division, sorry.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah. No, and I really just I really think it's gonna be an exciting matchup. Baker Mayfield always plays up to the challenge, always. And like you said, Kirk always seems to, just completely implode when it comes to the big moments. And I think this Falcons team has been the story of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory week in and week out this season. So I don't see them pulling it out. I'll be Bucks all night.
I'm with you. Give me the Bucks in this game, and obviously we'll discuss this in a little bit. But man, I think that first off, you got primetime Kirk, got a terrible history. Except earlier this year, I believe they caught a win. I'm just concerned with this Falcons offense, and this was supposed to be the great part, right? Zach Robinson was brought in to change it up. I don't know what they're doing. It's very inconsistent. Tyler Algier one week is getting more of the carries than Bijan. They're not incorporating Kyle Pitts. Drake London's coming on slow. They are just discombobulated. I think that this is a great spot for the Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers have two very solid running backs. I think we'll discuss this more, but I think it's a big Rashad White and Bucky Irving game. The Falcons defense.
Tell people your bias.
Not
Tell people why you're biased.
I'm not going to say I'm biased.
Daniel is an ASU homer. He went to ASU. Yep. He loves Rashad White. He loves Jaden Daniels.
Hold on. I like Jaden Daniels. I thought that he was.
I was like messing with you. I'm sorry.
For sure.
I feel like I'm bullying Daniel.
It's all good. You ain't bullying me. At least that man. Like I said. I'm with you, man. I think the Buccaneers pull this game out, and I'm not really too concerned about the spreads. Only 1.5. Bucks gonna go in. I think they win by 7+.
I like that, Daniel. I just think a lot of people are gonna be shocked that the Bucks are gonna beat them, and it's gonna be like, okay, did we overrate the Falcons? Yes, we overrated the Falcons. Of course, we did overrate the Falcons. But listen, maybe the Falcons put it together. I think if this was a 1 p.m. game, the Falcons would have a better shot.
Yeah,
crazy enough, right? I think they would have a better shot. But Parker, listen, man, we appreciate you so much. I want to thank you so much for joining us on the show. You'll be back joining us on the recap show, maybe. The recap show. Maybe well, let's do it again. Let's have some fun. So Parker will be back joining us on the recap show this Sunday after hopefully the Bengals defeat the Baltimore Ravens. We'll see what happens. There will be a game played on Sunday in Paycor Stadium, and we'll see if it results in a victory for the Bengals. But Parker, my man, enjoy Thursday Night Football. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you Sunday.
I appreciate y'all, man. Have a good one.
Appreciate you, brother.
Take it easy.
Listen, it wouldn't be fantasy football, Thursday night preview if we didn't have TWSN's fantasy football analyst Michael O'Hara joining the show. So without further ado, Michael O'Hara, what's going on, Mike?
Good morning, Malik. Coming off a tough weekend, my buddy Rashee Rice goes down with a brutal injury. They're saying it might not be an ACL, so I've got a 4-leaf clover. I'm knocking on wood. I've got a rabbit's foot in my pocket and fixing broken mirrors, hoping it's only going to be a couple of weeks, but we'll see.
Mike, you came out the gate swinging today with all these riddles and whatnot. I have no idea what you just said. A rabbit foot, broken mirrors. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I mean, I hear you out, bro. Yeah, go for that. Yeah, man. But yeah, bro, it's good seeing you, man. Listen, let's talk about it. First of all, I'll be remiss if I didn't ask you, how'd you make out in your fantasy football league this past weekend?
Terrible. I took zeros from Rashee Rice left and right in like 4 of my leagues. Stone cold zero out of Rashee Rice in multiple instances did not help.
Man, yeah, I'm sorry that happened to you. Hopefully, you can rebound. I'm knowing you, Mike. You're not a guy that sits by. You seem like the guy. The moment that injury happened, you were on the phone, probably trying to wheel and deal and make trades and tell guys, "Hey, listen, I'll do this. I'll give you this if you give me." I feel like you're not a guy that sits by and you'll just let your fantasy hopes whittle and die. I don't think that's Michael O'Hara. That's definitely not you.
I was scrambling to the waiver wire to pick up your boy Justin Watson.
Justin.
No, I'm just kidding. I was not. Looking for any other option. I think that Chiefs offense is going to run through Travis Kelce now. But,
let me ask you a question. This is going to sound crazy. Do you trust me? Do you trust my fantasy football advice? Because I trust your fantasy football advice.
I'll listen to it at a minimum.
Listen, there's a guy that's emerging soon. I won't tell you who it is. I'll text you offline. There's a guy that I believe is going to be emerging soon. I've been texting back and forth this past week. This guy that's going to be emerging soon in a particular offense that I think if he's available on waiver wires, it might behoove you to pick him up. You know me very well. I think I know you very well to a degree. I think you might know who I'm talking about. But again, just trust me on that. There might be some positives happening very, very shortly for you that I think that you might be able to take advantage of some cool things. So without further ado, Mike, I'm gonna hand this over to Daniel so Daniel can you and Daniel can get the people going for their fantasy football matchup. Thursday night football tonight, Falcons, Buccaneers.
I'm trying to figure out your riddle first with who this player is.
I'm the king of riddles, man.
I feel like I know who it is, but I'll figure it out.
I can't say it on the show.
Of course. Is it a team? Can I get the team?
Nope.
Can I get the conference?
Nope.
I can at least get the conference.
Just know there is a team that plays football in the NFL.
Interesting. All right. We'll figure it out. But Mike, Thursday night football, I want to get your thoughts. And I'm just curious, first off, overall matchup thoughts, right? Where are you attacking? Where are you staying away from? Whether it's run defenses, pass defenses, what's your overall thoughts on this matchup? Who has good/bad matchup this week for Thursday night football?
Thankfully, this is really one where it's a bunch of set it and forget it guys. It's Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. They're going to be in your lineup no matter what. And the really attackable matchup here is the Buccaneers on the ground. They're allowing 5.1 yards per carry to running backs this season, a 60% success rate nearly. And they're also allowing pass-catching running backs to do really well this season. They're allowing 12.6 receiving points to running backs this season, which is near bottom of the league. So that's just a really good matchup for Bijan Robinson. You haven't even got a top 12 week out of Bijan Robinson yet. And it's looking like Tyler Algier is going to be a little bit more of a thorn in his side than people were hoping. And I do expect him to be so once again, just because it's the short week and you think that they're not going to lean. And Bijan has been on the injury report these last 2 weeks, last week with a shoulder and this week with an ankle. So I wouldn't be shocked if Algier mixes in more than Robinson managers would hope, but it's a strong matchup, especially with Robinson's abilities as a pass catcher. And you're viewing this guy as your RB1 no matter what, even though it's been it's been tough sledding for a month. So I'm looking for him to bounce back here.
So real quick, give me your thoughts on the flip side of things. This is where I'm curious, right? Rachaad White, Bucky Irving. I see a lot of people discussing, me personally, I've even got Bucky on a fantasy team. Are you starting Bucky? Are you starting Rachaad? Are you staying away? What's your thoughts on that side of things?
I'm not starting either of them if I have the possibility. It's getting to the point where both of them are just going to be touchdown dependent guys, especially with how this backfield is split up. Last week, every week as we move forward, the split between the two has gotten closer and closer. Last week, it was Rachaad White about 60% of snaps and Bucky Irving about 40% of snaps, and they both saw about 50% of the backfield touches. So it was pretty close to an even 50-50 split there. But the big thing for Bucky Irving is that he was starting to see see a lot more of those high value touches. And those high value touches are targets and goal line work. Throughout 2023 and early in 2024, it was all Rachaad White at the goal line. When the Bucs needed a punch in touchdown, he was getting the call. And last week, Bucky Irving handled every single running back touch at the goal line. So it was all Bucky Irving. He handled all 4 of the running back goal line touches last week, and he did punch in his first career NFL rushing touchdown. So it's swinging in Bucky Irving's favor. And if he continues to see those high value touches, he is going to have some standalone value. But for the time being, I'm going to see how this backfield shakes out for another week. I don't think you can really start either of these guys unless you absolutely have to. You're really just kind of betting on a touchdown here, and I prefer to go with a different option who has a steadier workload.
I love it. One last thing about this game. Let's talk about the quarterbacks real quick. Kirk Cousins has not looked great from a fantasy perspective so far this year. How good do you think that this Falcons?
Well, let me just say, sorry to cut you off. In the words of Michael O'Hara, he's looked dusty. Sorry, I just wanted to say
Dusty is crazy. I think Mike's probably been right on all 2 of his dusty picks. I mean, Tyler Lockett, and then I forgot who your other guy was. Who was it? Do you remember?
I made fun of someone last week, but no, I do not remember who it was.
It was
I called
Lockett, and then it was someone else.
It was Tyler Lockett, and it was.
We'll figure it out.
Was it Eckler? No, it wasn't. I don't know if it was Austin Eckler. It was somebody dusty.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But what's your thoughts on the pass catchers? Kyle Pitts, like, is he droppable? Drake London, is he producing a wide receiver 1 week this week?
I think you got to give Drake London a nod in your wide receiver 2. Every single week, his target share and his first read target share, more importantly, has steadily increased throughout the season. So he's the clear offensive focal point here. He is second on the team in yardage behind Darnell Mooney, but I mean, that's kind of inflated. He's ripped a couple of big plays, Mooney has. So I'm not too worried about that, but he leads the team in target share, first read targets, just about everything that you want out of a startable fantasy wide receiver. I think that better days are ahead for London. He's trending in the right direction in just about every metric that we care about in fantasy football. So I think you're confidently starting him this week. Kyle Pitts, I really do think you kind of just have to start him.
Really?
I mean, obviously it's a team by team basis and a league by league basis. In a 10-man league, you might be able to find something more suitable on the waivers, but in 12-man leagues, 14-man leagues, you might not be able to. It's all bad. It's all bad for Kyle Pitts. The film, he's not winning his routes. He's not separating. The separation based metrics show the same thing, that he's just creating zero separation. ESPN's open score, he ranks dead last. And that's just like the ESPN separation metric. He's not earning targets. And then Raheem Morris comes out after the game last week, says, I don't care about stats. Like they do not, this guy is not someone they're looking to get the ball to. And so if he's not getting open and they're not making it a priority to get him the ball, I mean, it's just hard for him to earn targets. And that's what we've seen. It's like an 11% target share for Kyle Pitts so far this season, which is just absolutely abysmal. He's been on the field less and less. He's losing routes to some guy named Charlie Warner. At this point in the season, like it's just all trending down for Kyle Pitts. But you got to think about it. I mean, you've seen that this season he had that 50-yard reception that was a yard away from being a touchdown. You've seen the big play ability. So it's whether you want to chase 6-7 points on the waiver wire or you want to chase that upside with Kyle Pitts. It really depends on what kind of roster you have. If you're kind of in a matchup that you think that will be tight this week and you need potentially that touchdown and that 50-yard play, you go for Kyle Pitts. But if you just need someone that can provide you for 6 points in your tight end spot and that stability is what your team needs, you're probably better suited going to the waiver wire.
So talking about the waiver wire, we can talk about some of the week 5 guys real quick. I want to get your thoughts. First off, you touched on tight ends. Let's look at the waiver wire. Are there any guys that you would pick up? Let's say I have a tight end that got hurt. I have a tight end that's on a bye week. Who are you picking up? Is it Colby Parkinson? Is it Mike Gesicki? Is it the Tyler Conklin? Who are you looking at from the tight end perspective if your team is desperate?
Yeah, so a lot of it, the tight end guys, it's really just you're looking for routes there. You're just looking for the guys who have a solid route participation. And unfortunately, as much as I love Mike Gesicki, he is not one of those guys. I mean, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing out of Eric All. He's rotating in more and more frequently and running routes at a higher rate as the weeks progress. So I'm looking for someone who is running more routes. Those guys, Colby Parkinson, Tucker Kraft is interesting. He is not like a super high routes guy, but it's a high passing volume offense, or at least it was last week. The game script kind of dictated that. But last week, a ton of pass attempts, and just with how the weapons there, these like little short underneath routes, he's really the only guy running the underneath routes in Green Bay, and he can just pick up 3-4 targets and have a high catch rate and turn those into 30-40 yards, and that's just good enough for your tight end slot. But I think Kraft is a solid option, and I think a guy like Parkinson, who is just running a ton of routes, is really all you can ask for there, and just kind of pray that he ends up with 4 catches for 30-something yards and you get 7 points.
All right, let's get to some of these questions. We got a decent amount from our people in the chat. We appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate you guys commenting. Make sure you guys comment down any other fantasy questions you got for our fantasy guy, Mike O'Hara. Travis Schwaller said, need advice, Joey Burrow versus the Ravens or Jaden Daniels versus Cleveland. Who are you starting?
Oh, it's Jaden Daniels every day. I love Joe Burrow. I highlighted him as a trade target in a piece that I did this week. He is steadily improved over these last 3 weeks. I think you can all but throw out the week 1 matchup against the Patriots, but and he's averaging nearly 20 points per game across his last 3 games. The Bengals are one of the few pass-heavy offenses in the NFL, but I mean, what are you not seeing out of Jaden Daniels that makes you question this? I mean, he's the QB1 in fantasy football right now. He's the most efficient quarterback in football right now. He's finding the end zone at will when the Commanders are within 5 yards. The Commanders offense leads the league in EPA per rush and EPA per dropback. So they've just been as a whole highly efficient. It's Jaden Daniels is a locked in top 4 quarterback for the rest of the season. I really only have him behind Lamar, Hurts, and Allen.
If you got those 2 guys, would you trade one of them? Let's say you are in a 1 QB league, or are you rocking with both of them the rest of the season?
Oh, 100% trading Joe Burrow. 100%. Really? There is zero value in a single QB league to be rostering 2 startable quarterbacks. You go find someone who's in need of a quarterback and you address it there. People really tend to overvalue the value of quarterbacks on the trading block. And I do think Joe Burrow is a name that carries some name value as well. So I think that you could get a solid piece at either running back or wide receiver for someone like Joe Burrow, because you don't really want to be in a spot like you can't start both of them every week. It's just it's a wasted roster spot, and especially for someone who you could get a legitimate piece for.
Love it. Will Holland said, should I start Keon Coleman or Josh Downs as my wide receiver 3 this week?
Josh Downs for sure. I do think that the ceiling for Keon Coleman's probably slightly higher, just because he is he's going to get more end zone and red zone looks than Josh Downs does. I mean, Josh Downs did have that red zone touchdown last week. I just don't expect that to be a super common occurrence for him. I do still expect Indianapolis to be a pretty run-heavy team when they get down to the stripe and try and punch things in with either Anthony Richardson or Jonathan Taylor. I mean, obviously there's a world where neither of those guys play this week, so we'll just have to see what happens and reevaluate as the final injury reports come out. But I do think Josh Downs is the stronger play here. He's come back in and immediately looked like he's picking up where he left off. He's dominating out of the slot, winning his routes, earning a strong target share, and he just provides a really solid floor because he does see those kind of shallower routes out of the slot, and he is able to have a high catch rate and just provide production in PPR leagues. So I just think at this time, I think Josh Downs is a more talented player, and I think he's a better fantasy option.
Love it. We got one last question for you, and then obviously you'll be on tomorrow for Fantasy Football Friday. Our guy Sean Brennan, he said, Mike, the Rice injury hurt me too, brother. I'm looking at Rashad White, Khalil Shakir, and Jackson Smith-Njigba for my flex. Where should I go? I think I already know where you're going to go, but where would you go?
Yeah, I'm going to go to my fellow Buckeye Jackson Smith-Njigba. he's struggling to a degree. So the guys that I trust for film-based analysis, they're saying he's not separating, and the separation metrics are saying the same thing, that he is struggling to get open, but he has taken over the wide receiver 2 role. He has completely jumped Tyler Lockett. This is the second guy in Ryan Grubb's offense, and this is one of the pass heaviest offenses in the league. Last week it was ridiculous. Geno Smith over 50 passing attempts, I believe it was. If he wasn't the highest number of pass attempts in the league last week, it was very, very close. And just in general, the pass rate over expectation, the raw pass rate, it's a super pass heavy offense in Seattle. So I expect that to keep up in the coming weeks, and just the role that Jackson Smith-Njigba has in this offense. The Buffalo offense, I already said I already shared what I thought about Rachaad White, but in pertaining to Khalil Shakir, it's a spread offense. There's no clear alpha in terms of earning targets, so I'm kind of avoiding that when I can. I think Khalil Shakir will have his weeks, but I would rather go with Jackson Smith-Njigba, who's the clear number 2 in a super, super high volume passing offense.
Real quick, one last one from Cornell Howard. He said, any value in keeping Zamir White in deep leagues?
God, no.
There you go.
If we couldn't figure out who it was, but if they're not the dust ball, Zamir White is the dust ball. I called him one of the worst picks in fantasy this year, and it is proving to be true. It was very much a volume-based bet. You were betting that he was going to play 70% of the snaps and take all of the early down rushing work, and that is not happening. He is not that good of a running back, and he is not getting the touches you need. You can just go grab someone, a speculative pickup. I would be dropping him for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I would go see, he returned to practice yesterday. I think there's a world where he's the most talented running back in Kansas City still. I don't think Kareem Hunt is very talented. They clearly have put Carson Steele well into the doghouse after fumbling in 2 straight games. So I think that there's just so many better speculative pickups than burning a roster spot on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Antonio Pierce even came out and said this week that Alexander Mattison has come out and earned more touches. If Alexander Mattison is earning touches over you, that's it. That's bury him. That's the final nail in the coffin. He's over with. It's done.
All right. Zamir White is a dust ball. You heard it here first.
Michael Harris always using those words, man. Yeah. One day he's gonna run into one of these players. He's gonna say, "I heard you call me a dust ball." But Mike, man, we appreciate you, man. We appreciate you, man. It's always fun having you on the show. It's always fun talking ball with you, man. Looking forward to having you on tomorrow to discuss week 5 of the NFL, my man, and talking all things through with you, man. But listen, I hope that you enjoy your Thursday Night Football, Mike, and we'll see you here tomorrow with Steve.
Yep, I'll be back tomorrow morning. Catch up with you guys then.
Yes, sir, man. We'll see you. That's Michael O'Hara. Make sure you guys give him a follow. And while you're here, give us a follow. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss when we go live. Also, give this video a like. We greatly appreciate you all for tuning in and making us a part of your daily routine. Hey, let's get to it, Daniel. What are some of your favorite bets for Thursday Night Football tonight?
I got a decent amount. And once again, if you guys want our full best bets, make sure you guys go to the Patreon down below in the description. We've got a lot of huge bets for this week, Malik. I'm excited for it. We've got our full NFL slate. Make sure you guys go check that out. Thursday Night Football, there's a decent amount I like. I'm going to give you guys all around the plays, and I'm generally thinking, but I've got 2 specifically I love, and I'll just start it out. Bijan Robinson over 25.5 receiving yards. This is something that Mike just brought up, and you look at the running backs, what they've done against this Buccaneers defense. Their linebackers aren't great. They're slow linebackers. Their edge rushers are very talented, but a guy like Yaya Diaby tend to get up the field, and the running backs tend to leak out a lot. And what do the Atlanta Falcons love to do? They love to get Bijan Robinson involved in the passing game, especially with Tyler Algier taking more of the rushing snaps. I think Bijan could have a great game today. I wouldn't necessarily be touching his rushing yards. If you do, I like his rushing and receiving yards, but 25.5 for a guy who's going to be playing 60% of the snaps, for a guy who is an absolute weapon as a receiver. Give me Bijan over 25.5 receiving yards. And keeping on the Falcons, it's Primetime Kirk. And Primetime Kirk isn't a necessarily great quarterback. He's a dude who's thrown 4 interceptions this year. 3 out of the 4 games he's thrown a pick. And I'm looking at the Buccaneers defense. Yes, they do have some injuries to deal with, but give me Kirk Cousins throw an interception. That's currently at plus money. Kirk Cousins throw an interception. I'm getting a guy who, one, I'm not confident that they're going to be running the ball a ton. So we're going to be seeing 35 to 40 pass attempts for Kirk Cousins around that area. Kirk Cousins is going to throw a pick today. So give me Kirk to throw a pick. And then on the flip side of things, I got to go with Bucky Irving. I like Bucky Irving's rushing and receiving yards. But if I want to sprinkle, first off, I'm just going to take the rushing yards. I mean, 43.5, 45.5. You look at the Falcons rushing defense. It's been rough this year. They're a bottom 10 rushing defense. And all around, like our guy Mike was saying, Bucky's seeing a lot more of the snaps. He has seen, he started off the year slow. The first 2 weeks, it really was chunk plays. The first, I believe it was his 3rd touch of the season. He broke off a 25-yard rush, reversed field. Bucky Irving is that dude. He's the more explosive back out of him and Rashad White. And we're going to see him get at least 40 to 50% of the touches today. So Bucky Irving, 45 rushing yards. And if you guys want to sprinkle, I do like, for 2 touchdowns, I like on the Falcons side, Drake London to score a touchdown. He scored a touchdown in 2 out of 4 games so far this year. And when you look at the Bucs cornerbacks, they can't mess with Drake London. He's 6'4". He's a 50-50 ball receiver. I don't trust his receptions. He's going to see 5 to 6 receptions. Give me Drake London to score a touchdown. And if you want to sprinkle, I think that Bucky Irving could score a touchdown today as well. And I haven't even looked at the numbers, but something that also intrigues me, Malik, Baker Mayfield's rushing yards. And this is simply from what I've seen. Jalen Hurts went up against the Falcons. The Falcons face another rushing quarterback. I'm trying to remember, but Baker Mayfield's been rushing this year. I went back and rewatched the film. A lot of times he's scrambling. He's getting jiggy with it. So I don't know what his jiggy with it. So I don't know what his rushing yards are at. But that would be my sneaky play of the day is Baker Mayfield's over rushing yards 9.5. I would be taking that. And I don't know if he's even scored a touchdown this year, but I would maybe a little sprinkle on his touchdown. But I like Baker Mayfield rushing yards. I like Bucky Irving today. I like Drake London to score a touchdown. And I love Bijan Robinson's over receiving yards.
I mean, he's just giving it all out, isn't he? He's just giving everything away.
Try, man.
Make sure we leave some for the Patreon.
No, for sure.
Today.
No, for sure.
If you want to subscribe to our Patreon, it's right, to the right of me. I only will give you one play because Daniel let out a lot. I like Bijan Robinson's receptions today. I like the over on his receptions. I feel like there'll be a lot of check down Kirk. So definitely take that sitting at 3.5. And if you're trying to make a little parlay, I think that makes a lot of sense for you guys. Guys, make sure you guys do us a favor. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss when we go live. We got some questions down in the comment section before we get to our last topic. One was, how old is Daniel? Daniel's 14 years old.
Yeah, 13. Just turned 14.
There you
go.
Years old. And James Angelos asked,
this is crazy.
Malik, who's got more riz, you or Daniel?
I don't know. I feel like you haven't seen me in action, to be honest. I feel like I'm the type of person that needs like a little, I need a little drink in me, a little drinky poo, to be honest. But I don't know. I just like chopping it up with people, to be honest. I feel like probably you, I would say, but I don't know. I feel like we both can smooth talk our way in.
I think we're both good looking individuals.
I appreciate that.
I think that we both are in committed relationships.
This is true.
I think that that's a question that'll get us in trouble. So I won't answer that. So
I feel like it's still valid to answer.
Yeah. I mean, cool. I mean, I'm retired. I have no riz. I have zero.
Then how'd you get retired? I feel like that's the valid question, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess I got some riz. Let's just say I know how to conversate. That's that. I think that's the biggest thing, but I'm not saying anything that get me in trouble. Appreciate the question though. Yeah. So let's talk UFC 307. I appreciate the question too. We appreciate always interacting with y'all too, even if the questions are sports related or non-sports related. Daniel, does Khalil Roundtree have a shot to win? That's going to be the question. Does Khalil Roundtree have a shot to win? And here's what I'll tell you. I think anybody has a puncher's chance, obviously, and I don't want to diminish him because then he can go out there and probably just start Charles Pajeda. I just think his 1-2 is pretty good. I just think that the reason why I'm going with Alex Pereira to this fight is because I think Alex is going to be able to take advantage of those looping hooks of Khalil Roundtree. I think Khalil Roundtree is going to have a hard time closing the distance on a guy like Alex Pereira. And I think the leg kicks of Alex could be something that can really take a toll on Khalil. Khalil has had difficulty in the past dealing with leg kicks. We saw Dustin Jacoby be able to fight his way back into a fight with Khalil Roundtree due to those leg kicks. I think that there are some areas of a focus that Khalil Roundtree could try to take advantage of when it comes to Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira's kryptonite has been that 1-2, but it seems like he kind of shored that up in his last fight against Jiri Prochazka. I just think that I just fail to see how Khalil's gonna close that distance on Alex effectively and make Alex work consistently, especially if this is a guy that's saying he's not planning to grapple whatsoever with Alex Pereira. What are your thoughts, though?
I think that Pereira's gonna start you, man. I can even see a world. This may sound crazy. Pereira submits him. I think that Pereira all around is going to win this fight. There's just a difference, stratosphere when a dude is on a tear like Alex Pereira is right now. I think that you go look what Izzy just said yesterday, and Izzy makes a great point, right? Hey, Izzy hopes that Alex goes undefeated the rest because it makes Izzy look better. And I think that, when a guy is in a flow state, when a guy is doing what Alex is doing, and Malik, he's not waiting a year to fight. This dude is fighting every 3 months, every 4 months. And I'm sorry. Yes, he may be 36. He may be getting up there in age. This dude is a superstar. This dude is, in my opinion, the best fighter on the roster right now. And I think Pereira comes out and puts on a masterclass. I think Khalil Roundtree, to answer the question, Roundtree does stand a chance. We have seen Pereira get KO'd bad by Izzy. And it happened when he got overconfident. And there is a world where Pereira gets overconfident. I'm not saying that this dude is unbeatable. I just think Pereira is too damn good right now. So I will say yes. To answer the question, Khalil does stand a chance. I have to go back and really rewatch how he fights, specifically. But Malik, he's a guy where he has gotten dominated some of his fights too. He's won a close decision. Roundtree is a very talented fighter. To Anderson Silva's point back in 2015, I saw this. He said, Khalil's a future champ. He was high on Khalil Roundtree. Khalil started, as a Muay Thai guy, great kicks. There's a world where Khalil Roundtree comes out and starches Pereira, but I think it's not going to come without serious damage to Roundtree. And I just don't know how Roundtree can get on the inside because Pereira is a slow starter. Or he can be a fast starter, but he's a guy who's methodical about his business. He will get his leg kicks. He's got great range. And Pereira is not a guy afraid to mix it up inside the distance, in the pocket. So I think the Pereira comes out and dominates him, and I think we could see a submission. We could see a KO. I think that this is an early fight, to be honest. I think this is a round 2, round 3 stoppage, and I think Pereira comes out and wins this. But the way and his path to victory, Khalil Roundtree, is to get in the fire. And to be honest, I think he's going to have to take some to give some, and the way he catches them is when Pereira gets confident, when he steps forward. We've seen it in the past, even against Bruno Silva. What happened in their fight? Alex was dominating Bruno, but a couple times, Alex up against the cage, dominating, working, thinks he's going to finish Bruno, and Bruno comes back, catching him with the right hand. Really stunned him. What, you wilding about my movements here?
That was great.
Here?
That was great. He started fighting the air.
I feel like you have to get.
Like, damn, what the air do to you?
I mean, you got to show the audience, like, hey, exactly what's going to happen. And I do think that I think that's the case. I mean, I wish we could stand up and show them, but
Daniel could fight a lot better than that. I promise y'all he can.
No.
I promise y'all he can.
No. But like, and Alex, the one thing about him, even go look at his sparring footage against boxers, sparring footage against Sean Strickland. He's there to be hit. Him against Jiri, the first fight, he got hit.
Yeah.
So, and Khalil, the one thing I will say, he gets, put in this category that he's undersized. He's still 6'1". He's a big ass dude. So he does stand a chance, I will say.
Yeah. Everybody has a puncher's chance. Everybody has a shot, obviously, to do something special. I just don't know if it'll happen this weekend for Khalil. But anyway, Khalil's been defying odds all his career, all his life, if you will, gone from 300 pounds all the way to the weight he is right now, and being one of the Well, I'm serious.
Oh, yeah.
He was 300 pounds.
That's crazy.
Respect
to him.
You know, respect him to now being, you know, ranked where he is with the UFC and being able to really
Getting
make a
the
name for
title
himself
shot.
and getting a title shot, even though some people feel it's not deserved. He's being able to answer the call when his number is rang, if you will. Make sure you guys do us a favor, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss when we go live or upload content. Remember, we are giving away 4 tickets, but 2 Bengals fans will win 2 sweet tickets to Bengals versus Giants in MetLife and enjoy in our suite with us for that game on Sunday Night Football next Sunday. All you got to do is head on over to Twitter, follow me at Wright Report, and follow at TWSN, my company. That's all you have to do, and post a screenshot down below. Winner is going to be announced Friday, tomorrow at noon. But, you know, every single time the Bengals have a home game, we also are going to be giving away 2 tickets to each Bengals home game. And you know what? I said I was going to do it at noon, but I'm going to do it now. Let's figure out who the winner is right now. So let's spin the wheel.
Live.
We're going to usually do wheel of names really quickly. Let's figure out who wins. All right, ready? Let's spin it.
Drum roll.
Drum roll. Drum roll. This thing is still going. Hold on. This thing is still going. Hold on. Hold on. Congratulations to Jesse DeAndros. Let me just spell that name. We've got Jesse, JESSEDEANDRAWS. Congratulations. You are the winner for the 2 Bengals tickets for Ravens Bengals this Sunday happening at Paycor. Make sure you get a hold of us. We'll DM you all the information. We just simply need your email, but we'll be in contact. Again, Jesse DeAndros. Congratulations. You are the winner for our sweet tickets. We appreciate you so much. We appreciate the support that you guys give us on a regular basis. And King Shicey asks us, you guys going to Giants Bengals? Gonna be having a tailgate. We'd love to have you guys come through. Well, you know what? Jersey is my home state. I'm happy to be making a return to New Jersey. I'm happy to be showing my people New Jersey. 100% I'll show up to your tailgate. 100% we'll show up. We'll have some fun. Just shoot me over the details. I'll make sure I pop out because I like to meet up with as many Bengals fans and football fans as possible when I do go out to these things. And it's, believe it or not, it's my first football game this season I'm going to. You know, going to every single football game the last 2 seasons. Kind of it was a lot for me a little bit, but now kind of getting ready to get back on the horse, man, and doing something special like this for TWSN and incorporating all of you guys in and what we do. We appreciate your support because remember, we are nothing without you. And remember, there's only one way you should be waking up, talking sports, watching sports, having this discussion, and that is the right way. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. for Fantasy Football Friday. Enjoy Thursday Night Football, everyone.
So kick that, relax, the TWSN.